Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to Divine Allegiance. I'm your host, Maulana Baig. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic, Iftar and serving Iftar. It's the beginning of Ramadan. We are all getting ready to observe this month in the best way possible. And many things that we are used to doing and many things that Allah has asked us to do, and all of those have great blessings, and every occasion and every moment in this month of Ramadan is special, and it's worship and it's glorification. It's being counted. The counter is running for earning reward. So all of us should be now in that mode where we want to get as much as we can out of this month. And I want to talk about Iftar, the time of Iftar, and serving Iftar. It is a great habit of Muslims to serve Iftar to one another. We are used to going to masjids where people sponsor Iftar and others join in, and the sponsors get the reward and others get the worship and the reward for being together. So all of that is a great thing. And Iftar is a special time. In fact, 2 times in the month of Ramadan are special. One is Suhoor, the other is Iftar. And in terms of Suhoor and Iftar, Iftar has more prominence and a greater reward and is more loved by Allah. Allah loves Iftar more, and this is due to His nature. Allah's nature is that He wants to see a person happy, and He wants to see him enjoy His blessings. And that's why at the time of Iftar, when a person opens his fast, it is Allah who's happy to see that fasting person find relief from the day of hunger and thirst. And truly it is a time of blessing. So some things I want to go through in relationship to Iftar, in the time of Iftar, and just some adab, some etiquette to be observed, certain things. A lot of things we already know, and I'm just going through this as a reminder, and also the benefits of Iftar and what it actually means, and that will be interesting, so stay tuned. In the adab of Iftar, certain things, one of the things that a lot of us do, but we don't really know why we do it, is the fact that praying Maghreb before Iftar, meaning before we eat anything. This is not something that we just made up as a habit. No, it has been recommended to us and has been told to us by Ahlul Bayt. In the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, we find this from the hadith of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He said that it is better for someone who is fasting if he has the power to do so, meaning he's not that hungry, he is really not in the pangs of pain and hunger. So if that is the case, if you're able to do so, if a person who's fasting is able to do so, then he should do his Maghrib before he does Iftar. It is a direct recommendation of our Imams. Imam Baqir alayhi salam has said that in the month of Ramadan, do your prayer, do your Maghrib, unless you are with people, do your Maghrib before Iftar, unless you are with people and they are waiting at the table. Meaning that there are people who are waiting at the table for you to come, then yes, you go ahead and do your Iftar and then come and pray. But if that's not the case, then you should do your Maghrib before you do your Iftar. So this is one of the etiquette of Ramadan that brings about a lot of light in us. Number 2, dua at the time of Iftar. Meaning before Iftar, the dua that we read all the time, Allahumma laka sumto wa ala rizqika aftartu wa ilayka tawakkaltu. This is a dua that has been mentioned to us by Ahlul Bayt in different forms, but basically the same thing. Imam Rida alayhi salam says that you make this dua and you say Allahumma laka sumtu, And when you read this dua at the time of iftar, it is one of the ways in which Allah enlightens you, makes your heart brighter. Then this is one of the etiquette of fasting in the month of Ramadan. The third thing I want to mention right now, maybe a lot of us don't know about this, is the pronouncement of Tawheed at the time of iftar. When we are at the time of iftar, we should say the sentence and declaration of Tawheed before we break the fast. It is from Imam Sadiq, who says, Allah accepts the fasting of the person, of anyone who opens his fast with a righteous speech and with righteous actions. So he was asked, what is righteous speech and righteous actions? He says, righteous speech is the declaration, La ilaha illallah. He should say, La ilaha illallah at the time of fasting. And then righteous action, he says, is zakat. Zakatul fitr, that we give, or zakat that is given to the poor, so that your fasting is accepted. He says that Allah accepts your fast because of these reasons. So say La ilaha illallah at the time of fasting. And other things also that we have been recommended at the time of fasting is Suratul Qadr, reciting of that. And obviously to open the fast with certain things like dates and water, salt sometimes has been mentioned. So these are things to break the fast with. These are etiquette of iftar time, my friends. Now let me go to the benefits of iftar. Why do we give iftar? It is something, not just a habit of Muslims, but it is truly something that Allah wanted to happen. In making his laws and in making the religion, he knew that this is going to become a common way of Muslims. That iftar time would be a time when people would be inviting each other for breaking the fast, and it has been recommended in so many ways and emphasized also. So let me just go through some of the benefits that a person gets when he serves iftar to others. Now I know that in this month and in this year of fasting, we are going to have a difficult time in trying to do this emphasis and this recommendation that we have been given of serving iftar. But even if it's amongst our family members or close friends that we can invite each other and that is being done, it is something that we need to look into. So here, my friends, let me just go into it and see that the first thing that happens to a person when he serves iftar is that iftar is ibadat. It is counted as worship, as service to Allah, with the condition that it should be done with the intention of qurbatan ilallah, meaning seeking nearness to Allah. It has to be done for that reason. Otherwise, if it's not done for that reason, then it's not worship. Because as with all worship, any sort of worship, the niyat and the intention is critical. You have to say and you have to know that this is for Allah's sake. And if you do it for Allah's sake, then it would be worship. As with anything, if your intention is Allah, then even watching CNN is worship. Yes. And if your intention is not Allah, then even Salatul Layl, Namaz-e-Shab, is not worship. Intention is that important. And hence, here also, when we do intention, it must be for Allah's sake. It should not be something that we do out of envy, out of contention, out of rivalry, out of showing off, out of trying to compete with others. For example, I give food in order to make myself be known to others. Look at how great an iftar I served. So if this is my intention, and if that is what I'm doing this for, even if I say qurbatan ilallah, it doesn't matter. Because the reason is more important than what you say. Why are you doing this? You can say qurbatan ilallah a million times. But if it's really not qurbatan ilallah, if it's not seeking Allah, then it doesn't matter. And that's the reason why we need to do it that way. A person slaughtered a camel to serve people, and he sent a plate of food to his rival hotshot, someone big hotshot, big shot, a rich guy, influential guy in the other neighborhood who is his rival. He also sent him food. That rival person, when he saw that this food came from his foe, so he got upset. He said, well, if he's going to do that, I'm going to slaughter a camel also. And he slaughtered a camel, and he made food, and he sent a plate to the other guy. And when the other guy got it, he got upset, and in contention, he slaughtered 2 camels and said, I'm going to show him. He thinks that he can show me up by sending me food and making more sacrifice than me. No, I will show how much sacrifice I can make. So then he sent him. He slaughtered 5 camels. And so they started now slaughtering camels to show off and to make sure that they can prove themselves to be the better man. It is said that it went up to 100 camels. Yes, 100 camels were slaughtered. And when 100 camels were slaughtered, Imam Ali told the people, don't eat this iftar. It has nothing to do with Allah. Such things have nothing to do with Allah. We gotta be careful when it comes to our intention and the reason why we do things. A good deed, a great action can become ineffective and useless if our intention is wrong. When we look at the communities, we see that's exactly how things work about. Every masjid vies with the other masjid in trying to make the best iftar, bringing out the menu, showing where we are ordering the food from, this caterer or that caterer, so that the people can have the incentive of coming to our place more than their place, and to serve the better food. And every masjid is known by the food that it serves. And everyone says, oh, that masjid always serves good food. And hence, when intentions are like that, this fasting, this iftar is really not for Allah. It is really not for Allah. And hence, it will become useless. So one of the things we need to be thankful for in these days that we are living in today, where we are not going to have these iftars at the masjid, is we don't have to worry about those things anymore. So now at least if we are doing it at home, make the intention that this is for Allah. And if I want to invite my brother, my sister, or someone who's close to me to come over here and have iftar with me, then do so. And do it for Allah's sake. And do it for the sake that Allah is going to be happy with you, because it is worship to do that, my friends. When Ahlul Bayt did it, and when they served iftar, and when they gave their iftar to the poor and to the orphan and to the wayfarer, it is said that they said, Innama nut'imukum liwajhillah. We give for Allah's sake. We don't want anything in return. No acknowledgement, no praise, nothing. It is for Allah. And hence, this is the beauty of it. So the first benefit of iftar is that it is worship. It is ibadat. Second benefit of iftar is that it is tazkiyah. It is self-purification. It purifies you of your sins. It purges your heart of evil. When you give, then you are being purified. You are being cleansed. You are being purged. Let me explain that. The potential of growth is infinite. When we look at all human beings, their potential of growth is infinite, meaning that there is no stopping us from growing. And this growth is something that doesn't have a ceiling. It doesn't have a limit. It's unlimited. It's infinite, our growth. And anything that hinders growth of a human being has been made haram by Allah. The reason Allah makes things haram is because that potential of growth that we have is being stopped by that thing, is being hindered. And when growth is hindered, then we limit ourselves. And anything that limits your growth, Allah has made it haram. Allah says this is haram, not because of some physical effects that it has. Alcohol is not haram because it has some physical effects. It makes you intoxicated and these type of things. No, it hinders your progress. It is an obstacle for your growth. That's why it's haram. And everything else that is haram is because it's an obstacle for growth. And those who limit themselves are in a loss. Meaning you're losing time, you're losing energy, you're losing opportunity. When you stop, when something is stopping you and you are limiting yourself. For example, people of dunya, people who love dunya, one of the sins is hubbud dunya. Hubbud dunya means the love of this world. Why is it haram? Because when you love the world and you make dunya in this world your goal, then you limit yourself. You're limiting the potential of your growth. Allah says growth is infinite. Why are you limiting yourself? But people limit themselves by not making a higher goal. They make the goal that they have dunya. What is your goal? I want to be a billionaire. That's it? That is your goal? I mean, really, you can do a lot more than that. You can do a lot better than that. You are meant to do better than that. That's why Allah asked this question in the Quran. He says, Aradito bil hayatid dunya. Araditum bil hayatid dunya. Are you satisfied with the life of this world? Are you satisfied with this life when you can have so much more? There's so much more in store for you. Why are you limiting yourself? So my friends, anything that limits you is haram. And if you limit yourself, you are in a loss. And one of the things that limits you is called bukhl. Being bakhil. Bukhl means stinginess. People who are stingy. People who don't like to give. They do not like to share. And how do you explain who a stingy person is as opposed to a generous person? Oh, here's how you explain it. A generous person is someone, when he is invited by others, accepts the invitation to go there. A generous person accepts the invitation of other people, knowing that he's under the obligation of inviting them now. Because if I go to your invitation, then I am obligated and have a responsibility to invite you back. Hal jazaa'ul ihsan illa al-ihsan. I should pay back. So what happened is that he accepts invitations because he knows he has to give back also, and he's not afraid to do that. That's why he's generous. A stingy person is a person who, when he's invited, doesn't accept the invitation because he's afraid that he now has to invite that person. And he doesn't want to do that. He says, I'm not going to do that. I have to pay back now. So I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go to their party, and I'm not going to go to their invitation. Why? Because now I have to invite them back. So I do not want to give what I have. So he will stop eating yours just so that you don't eat his. This is a stingy person. And the stingy person has limited himself. And because of that, it is a sin. a sin because he has limited his growth, and he is in a great state of loss. That's why Allah wants to open these limits by doing what? By saying, feed others. Feeding others, doing iftar is a means of opening your limits, opening the doors of your growth. A person who gives food to others and invites others and feeds others is a person who is opening the doors of his growth, my friends. This is why iftar is such a great thing. Having iftar is opening your limits and letting you fly now and become great. And that's why it is tazkiyah, zakat. The word zakat is from the word tazkiyah, meaning to cleanse. When you give zakat, it is cleansing your wealth. It is making and giving you the potential of growth, unlocking your limits and confinements. And those and Allah has condemned even those people who don't encourage each other to feed others. In this chapter of Surah Al-Fajr, he says, وَلَا تَحَاضُّونَ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ, and they don't encourage each other to feed others, to feed the poor. Why don't you encourage each other to feed the poor? This is a condemnation from Allah, that not only do you feed, but you encourage each other to feed. So that's number two. And just that, don't worry how much, because a lot of people might be like, hey, I don't have money. And if you feel that way, you're not the only one. A person went to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't have any money to feed others. And Rasulullah says, even if you have a few dry dates or just a water, drinkable water, then serve that to your brother mu'min who is fasting. Let him open his fast with that, and you get the blessing. Even if it's little, it doesn't matter. Number three, the third benefit of iftar, my friends, and we are talking about iftar, is that it strengthens the soul. It makes you a stronger person. It builds your character. Ayat of the Quran in Surah Baqarah, ayat number 265. Read it yourself. It says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرَضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَتَثْبِيتًا مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. He says, and the example of those who spend their property for the pleasure of Allah, and for what? For strengthening their souls. It is building your character. You become a greater human being by feeding, by giving, by sharing. And iftar is that thing that makes us there. Three things prevent you from the hellfire. It says in the hadith, there are three things that prevent you from being burned in the hellfire. First is feeding the hungry. When you feed the hungry for Allah's sake, it is going to protect you from the hellfire. Number two, giving salam first, or as I call it, the first salamers. The first salamers are the people that when two people meet, they are the first one to give the salam. Those who are the first ones to give the salam, those who initiate the salam and the greeting, they are protected from the hellfire. And the third people who are protected from the hellfire are those people who do Salatul Layl and Namaz Shab, even if it's sometimes, and especially in the month of Ramadan. These are the people. My friends, Imam Sadiq said that anyone who gives iftar to a person who's fasting, then he gets the reward of the person who's fasting. Meaning that person who's fasting, you get his reward on top of the reward that you have for your own fast. You get that extra reward. And the more you do it, the more you get it. The more you do it, the more you get it. Imam Sadiq asked a group of people, he says, do you want to free 10 slaves from the children of Ismail? From the children of Ismail, 10 slaves, do you want to free them? He says, then give iftar. to someone who's fasting. Serve iftar, and you'll see that. My friends, there are many other benefits also. I mentioned these three. I can just read them out for you, cannot explain. We are going to be running out of time. It brings people together. Number 4, it brings people together, their hearts together. Number 5, it brings families together and creates bonds in them. Because when you break bread, breaking bread in any society is what makes people come together. That's why whenever you want to have a meeting or you want to do anything, you have first, you break bread together. You dine together, you eat together, and then you talk about things. It brings us together so that it can become a better negotiation. It makes us closer to one another. Spiritual growth is another thing that happens, that you grow spiritually, and then you get prayers from other people. Dua al khair. You get prayers from other people. The spirit of Ramadan is here. The spirit of feeding is here, my friends. And this is something that we should take emphasis of. And guests that come to us, they're special. A person came to the masjid of Rasulullah and said that I am hungry. Is there anyone who can feed me tonight? Rasulullah sent word in his house to his wives and asked them, do we have food in the house? And they said, no, we do not have food in the house. So then Rasulullah asked in the masjid, Man lihada rajul? Is there anyone who can make this person his guest and feed him? Imam Ali said, I will be his host for tonight. I will take him home. So he went and asked his wife, Bibi Fatima. He asked her, do we have something in the house? And she said, the only thing we have in the house is what little food is there for our children. And then she added, but the guest is more important than the children. Imam Ali got that and said, let me put the kids to sleep. Imam Ali put his children to sleep. And then she made the plate of food. And he took that plate of food and was walking out to the guest room with that plate of food. And as he was walking out, it is said that he was like making a face as if he has just eaten. He was chewing in his mouth or working his mouth as if he had just eaten, so that the person who's going to get the food doesn't feel embarrassed or shy, that he can eat his fill. And that person, seeing that Imam Ali has eaten and the family has eaten, starts eating the food without feeling ashamed. So he was eating until he was full. But it so happened that as he ate his fill and he saw the plate of food that he ate from was still full, untouched. And Imam Ali, when he came out the next day and Rasulullah met him, Rasulullah, with tears in his eyes, said, I have been informed about what you have done last night, and Allah is amazed at your actions and what you have done last night, and He's proud of it. My friends, this month is the month of feeding. It is the month of sharing. It is the month in which we have rewards to earn and greatness to achieve. Do not slow down. This is the time to accelerate and do the things that you can do. Even if you cannot feed this month, at least use that money to give donations. Yes, I'm not able to feed this month. At least give donations to charities, to Islamic works, to things that are happening. Why? Because this is the month that we want to give and gain the reward. Thank you for watching. May Allah bless you all and bless the month of Ramadan for you all and accept our Amal. Thank you for watching Divine Allegiance. We hope you like the show. If you like the show, please go on and hit the like button below and subscribe to our channel and share with your family and friends to spread the message. I'm your host Maulana Baig. Until next time, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.